I got that in the back chat. And I guess I can take that out because I don't want too many what's the names open. Okay. So let me bring this up here. King James, right? Apocrypha. Because I want you to see this garbage for yourself. Okay. All right. All right. I want you to see this. I want y'all to see this foolishness. Okay. Now, all right. I think I brought this up. Okay, that's the money. Okay, I'm trying to go beyond because we already covered that. That's why I'm kind of skipping down. So just bear with me for 2 more seconds. Hold on. Okay. All right. Okay. Now I want you to see something. That was doctrine. I'm gonna put that on hold because there's more doctoral problems with the Apocrypha. But there's another problem, family, with the Apocrypha. Historical problems. Watch this. Let's go over here to Tobit. Lord have mercy. Jesus, keep us tonight because we're going to need it when we look through this foolishness. This is utterly ridiculous. Hold on. All right, Tobit, right? Let's go to Tobit chapter 1. I want y'all to see this. Hold on. Tobit chapter 1, verse 4. Watch this. Look at this, family. And when I was, and this is about Tobit now. And when I was in my own country, in the land of Israel, being but young, all the tribe of Naphtali, my father fell from the house of Jerusalem, which was chosen out of all of the tribes of Israel, that all the tribes should sacrifice there where the temple of habitation of the Most High was consecrated and built for all ages. Okay. Now, I want you to take a close look at this. In this chapter, Tobit claims to live during the time of the split of the northern and southern kingdom, right? Now, pay close attention. Watch this. We're going to go over here. Tobit chapter 1. Watch what happens. Same book, chapter, and verse. Look at what Tobit does. And when we were carried away captives to Nineveh, all my brethren and those that were of my kindred did eat of the bread of the Gentiles. In Tobit chapter 1, verse 10, he then claims to be taken into what? Assyrian captivity. What? That's two different captivities in the same book, chapter, and verse. Tobit is given two different accounts. First, he says right here in verse 4, look at it. He said he gives the account. He says that he lived during the account of the split between the northern and southern kingdom. That will be under, I think that's Jeroboam and Rehoboam, somewhere 2 Kings chapter 12. I know Sister Lala, she gave this to me some time ago. I hope I quoted it right. Sister Lala, if you're still here, if I got that scripture right, please let me know. If not, put the right scripture in there. But I know it's in Kings. He is given the account saying that he was at the time of the northern and southern kingdom split. Then he goes in here in verse 10, he places himself what? I mean, this is almost what? Hold on, let me go back. Go back. I didn't mean to do that. How many years are we talking about? Oh my God, about 200 years difference. Yes, 200 years difference. Okay, which there is a 200-year separation between these verses and these events. Yeah. Look, I'll go back to it again. Look at this real close. Pastor Sean and Brother Brian, right? And even verse 3, right? He's trying to allude to the land of the Assyrians. He puts himself at the time of the split. That's way before, right? Then he puts himself, verse 10, in a whole nother time period. That's wrong. So Tobit can't make up his mind in which event, which era of time he's in. That's just one example, right? Let me give you the next one. Watch this. Watch this. This one is finna really mess with your soul. Okay, I'm sorry. 200 years between the time of the events. So, which by the way is 43. I'm sorry, 43 years longer than what Tobit apparently lived. Okay. So now we got a fracture on how long his lifespan was, just based off on these verses right here. Now, the next part. Hey, honey, how you doing? All right. Sorry, I had to flirt a little bit. All right. Here's the next example. Sister Arino, Brother Reggie, Body of Christ. Can y'all tell me, according to Daniel in scripture, who was king of Babylon? Who was king of Babylon? Can y'all tell me? I want one or two people. It don't matter. Can somebody tell Sister Cherry Love who was king of Babylon? Somebody. I'm looking at my phone, and I'm waiting for one person to answer me. Who was king of Babylon in the scriptures at the time of Daniel? You know, Brother Brian, can you tell me?
And you're right. You was asking about who the king of. Well, never mind. I see it in the chat.
Nebuchadnezzar. Okay. Yep. Now watch this, Brother Brian. Watch this. Y'all watch this. Because this messed with even my soul. I had to get up and oh my God. All right. So let's go down here to the book of Judith. Judith chapter 1, verse 1. Watch this. But Brian, I'm bringing up big. Read that for me.
In the 12th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, what that's a weird way of pronouncing it.
This is old
who
English.
Reigned in Nineveh, the great king city, in the days of the Arphad, reigned over the Medes and I'm not even really sure what that is.
Ecbatane.
Wow.
They saying, look at your screen. According to the Apocrypha in Judith chapter 1, King Nebuchadnezzar is not king of Babylon. They got him king of Nineveh. Look at your screen. I'm not lying to you. Look at it. Look at it. The biblical text says that King Nebuchadnezzar is king of Babylon, right? Up in that area. I figured, I said, well, maybe he took over Nineveh. Or maybe the empire, the Babylonian empire spread it down to Nineveh. I didn't find no sources for that. No, look, only the Apocrypha is saying this. I didn't find nothing, unless I missed something. I didn't, Pastor Sean, my right hand to God. Brother Brian, my right hand to the Father. I found nothing. When I looked up King Nebuchadnezzar, they got him king over Babylon, not Nineveh. But in the Apocrypha got King Nebuchadnezzar king over Nineveh. That is so wrong right now. That is so wrong. Look, Sister Cherry is not lying to you. So right here in the book of Judith, chapter 1, verse 1, has King Nebuchadnezzar, who is king of Babylon, but instead the Apocrypha places King Nebuchadnezzar as king in Nineveh over Assyria. Clearly, this is inaccurate. So now, not only do we have a historical problem, not only do we have a doctrinal problem, but we have a geographical problem and a monarchy problem. Y'all see this? But they want to say that the Apocrypha is scripture. All this error, baby, bye. And listen, this ain't no textual variant. Now, we understand that the biblical text has over 400,000 textual variances. Now, what is a textual variance? A textual variance is uh, a letter missing, or a letter that's been damaged, or maybe a misspelled word, or a word missing. And in the biblical text, it is says, especially about the New Testament, that 400,000 textual variance, if you throw a percentage on it, it's like 0.6%, which is a letter, a period, or word, but it's not enough to change the meaning of the text or the historical event or what is being said. However, this is not a textual variance. This is just a revamp in history, what you see on your screen. This is terrible, right? But they want to declare this as scripture. I'm not done. Watch this. Watch this. I got something else for you. Watch this. Let's go over here. Let's take a trip. And this ain't no gospel ship. I don't know what this ship is, but this is a wonderland. So we're gonna go over here to the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11. Watch this, and y'all can look all of this up for yourself. Listen, Cherry Love, Brother Brian, Pastor Sean, we ain't gotta lie to you. Okay. Okay. Verse 17. Look at what it says here. Brother Brian, Pastor Sean, can you read that for me?
For thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form, wanted not means to send among them a multitude of bears and fierce or fierce lions.
Now, this passage here, rather than having creation resulting from what nothing but by God's word, the Apocrypha has God creating the world out of formless mass, according to the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, verse 17, Brother Brian. This is a total contradiction against Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? And the earth was without form and void, right? Nothing there, no form. God did this. But according to the Apocrypha Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, verse 17, it's saying that God formed the world, that made the world of matter without form. So he had matter to create the form, meaning something was already there before God did any type of creation, which will make Genesis 1:1 a lie. It said without form and void. This is saying matter without form, but the matter was already there. Y'all see how this is contradicting scripture? You see this? And scripture, I'm referring to Old Testament, New Testament. And the contradiction is the Apocrypha. Look at that. Look at your screen. I'm not making this up. Look at it. So, meaning something was already there, right? Not that God is in the beginning, but something was already in the beginning with God, other than God. The matter. That's a contradiction. Okay? And not to mention, that's wrong. Because now God can't say that it was just him all by himself. There's something else there with God other than God. Y'all see this? Let me give you another one. The Apocrypha contains two contradiction accounts of the death of Antiochus Epiphanes. Watch this. This is terrible. This is horrible. I will never hold to this garbage book. Second Maccabees. Watch this, Brother Brian. Watch this. No, I'm in First Maccabees. Second Maccabees, right? Second Maccabees, chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 13. Watch this. I'm showing you the examples purposely. Right? I'm slowing myself down so I can show you this. Brother Brian, can you read verses 13 through 16? Watch what it say, bro. This gonna mess you up. Look at what it says. I'm gonna put it right here so I can highlight. Okay. Brother Brian, you there? Okay, maybe he's not. Okay.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi keeps cutting off and on.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Can
yeah.
you 13 through 16? Watch this, bro.
All right. For when the leader was come into Persia, and the army with him that seemed invincible, they were slain in the temple of the Nana by the sin of the Nana's priest, but in Antiquus, as though he would marry her, came into the place, and his friends and that were with him to
Uh-huh.
receive money in the name of the dowry,
Uh-huh.
which when the priest of Nana were had set forth, and he'd entered a small company into the compass of the temple, they shut the temple as soon as the Antiquus was come in.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Okay. Brother Brian's Wi-Fi is acting up. Okay. It says here, for when the leaders was come into Persia and the army with him that seemed invincible.
Without.
Yeah, I know. I know. They were slain in the temple of Nanin by the deceit of the Nanin priests, right? For Antiochus, as though he would marry her, came into the place and his friends that were with him to receive money in the name of a dowry, which when the priest of Nanin had set forth, and he was entered with a small company into the compass of the temple. They shut the temple as soon as Antiochus was come in, and opening a privy door, a private door of the roof, they threw stones like thunderbolts and struck down the captain, hewing them in pieces, smote of their heads and cast them to what? To those that were without. So they killed Antiochus Epiphanes in here, right? But watch this. Watch this, family. Watch this. Watch this foolishness. All right. Second Maccabees, chapter 9, verses 19 through 29. Watch this. Watch this, family. Antiochus, king and governor to the good Jews, his citizens, wisheth much joy, health, and prosperity. If ye and your children fare well, and your affairs be your contentment, I give, let me do this. I give very great thanks to God, having my hope in heaven. As for me, I was weak, or else I would have remembered kindly your honor and goodwill returning out of Persia and being taken with a grievous disease, I thought it necessary to care for the comely safety. Right? Hold on. Not disturbing my health, but having great hope to escape this sickness. But consider that even my father, at what time he led an army into the high countries, appointed a successor, to the end that if anything fell out of contrary to expectation, or if any tidings were brought that were grievous, they of the land, knowing to whom the state was left, might not be troubled. Hold on. Again, consider how that the princes and their borders and neighbors unto my kingdom wait for the opportunity and expect what shall be the event. I have appointed my son Antiochus king, whom I often mind you, he's dead in the other chapter. Second Maccabees chapter 1, verse 13 through what? 16. But in chapter 9, verse 19 and 29, he's succeeding as king. Hold on, we're not done. Watch this. Antiochus as king, whom I often committed and commanded unto of many of you. When I went up into the high province, to whom I have written as followeth. Therefore, I pray and request you to remember the benefit that I have done unto you generally and in specially, and that every man will be still faithful to me and my son. Hold on. For I am persuaded that he understandeth my mind, will favorably and graciously yield to your desire. Thus, the murder and blasphemer, having suffered most grievously as he entreated other men. So died he a miserable death in a strange country in the mountains. What? Hold on. Verse 29. And Philip, that was brought up with them, carried away his body, who also fearing the son of Antiochus, went into Egypt to Pontius Philometor. So hold on. These two different accounts, right? They got him in Second Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 13, verse 13 through 16, says that he was cut to pieces in the temple, same guy now, cut to pieces in the temple of Nain by the treachery of the Nain priests. But in this account here in Second Maccabees chapter 9, verse 19 through 29, says that he was taken by some gnawing sickness, and so ended his own life among the mountains by the most pious faith in the strange land, and he's king in this particular passage. How? When he's dead in Second Maccabees chapter 1, verses 13 and 16, y'all done brought him back alive. The Apocrypha done brought him back alive, Brother Brian and Pastor Sean. In Second Maccabees chapter 9, Second Maccabees chapter 9, verses 19 through 29. And he committed suicide, and he was crowned king. How? I thought he was dead in first. This is terrible. This and y'all want to call it scripture. And this ain't no textual variance. This is total contradiction. Do you see this, Brother Bill? This is total contradiction within itself. This doggone book, Brother Brian, Pastor Sean, Brother Brian, I will not lie to you. This book can't make up its mind on what it want to do. This y'all want to say that the Bible got contradictions?
I believe I would throw that book away.
That's exactly what I did.
And the only reason I even got it on my phone is because these Hebrew Fakelites be sitting up in here trying to quote from it. And I just want to know, a lot of times, and this was sad, a lot of times they don't even know what it says. They misquote them so bad.
Yeah. They haven't read this in its entirety, Brother Brian. Now watch this, Brother Brian. I'm gonna have you read this. Watch this. This gonna make your eyes go cross at it. Watch. This might even make you feel some kind of way, Brother Brian. Listen, and this is terrible. Tobit chapter 5, verses 15 through 19. Brother Brian, read that. Read that. 15 through 19. Watch what.
Yes, moreover, if you return safe, I will add something to thy wages. So they were very well pleased that they said, Tobit, prepare thyself for thy journey, and God send you a good journey. And when his son had prepared all things for his journey, his father said, Go through this man, and God which dwelleth in heaven prosper your journey, and the angel of God keep you in company. So they went forth, both the young man's dog with them. But Anna, his mother, wept and said, Tobit, why hast thou sent our son? Is he not staffed in our hand, and going in and before us, but not greedily to add money to money, but let us refuse and respect on our honor? For that which the Lord had given us to live have doeth suffer us.
Now, in this passage from 15 through 19, this teaches that angels can have families, which contradicts the Bible in Mark chapter 12, verse 25. Take a closer look, Brother Brian. Mm-hmm. So they were well pleased. Then said he to Tobias, prepare thyself for the journey, and God send you a good journey. And when his son had prepared all things for the journey, his father said, go thou with this man, and God, which dwell in heaven, prosper your journey, and the angel of God keep you company. So they went forth both, and the young man's dog with them. This is indicate, and I went and I did look up the research, and I got the video, which I am going to show to back all this stuff up. It's saying that angels can have family. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't ask me what to do with that. Don't Yolanda. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I didn't write this foolishness. Listen. So angels can have families. When the biblical text clearly says right here, let me bring it up real quick. Right here, show and tell, right? And Brother Alton was right that day. I'm sorry. Yeah, Brother Bill and Sister Yolanda, and Sister Monette, if you're still here. Mark chapter what? Verse 12, 25. He was right when he said, I like to show and tell. Show and tell is a good thing because verbal ain't working no more. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We got to show y'all the proof. Look at what it says. For when they arise from the dead, neither they marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. Okay, this is why Hebrew Israelites, for some crazy reason, are under this illusion, Brother Brian and Pastor Sean, that they gonna have kind of like Islam, all kind of women. Because IUIC, for example, teaches they don't teach polygamy on earth, but they teach polygamy in the kingdom of heaven. That you can have as many wives as you want. What wife? You ain't gonna even have one wife, not according to the scriptures. That's a total contradiction. Look at your screen. I'll take it back over here to the Apocrypha. Okay. 15, 16, 17, 18. Hold on, let me bring it down. 18 and 19. It's saying that the son is not Tobit's son. The son is actually the angel's son. Don't ask me how that works. This is what this thing is teaching, right? That's wrong. Okay. The next.
Okay, let me add, daughter. Let me add this. Let me ask this one crazy question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How is an archangel blind? Raphael is supposed to be an archangel. Why? How is he blind, and why is he blind?
Oh, Pastor Sean. Oh, you and these theologian questions. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Is any angel blind in heaven, or are they perfect?
They're perfect. They're not blind.
This ain't no angel.
Mm-mm. I don't know what this thing is.
Since we're talking about Raphael. So, wait a minute. Didn't the angels who left their first estate to sleep with them women and bore that race of giants called Nephilim?
Unless that's what it's referring to, but it didn't say
Yeah,
that.
so let me
Wait a minute, didn't
closer.
God destroy
Why would
all
God? Yeah.
that? Okay.
So my question was, why would God reallow an angel to sleep with a human woman, so to make another, a blind one at that, to make another race of Nephilim? Does that make any kind of sense? Any spiritual logic? Is that logical?
No, sir. No, sir. it gets worse, Pastor Sean. It gets
So the
worse.
disembodied spirits of them giants that they half angel and half
They
man.
don't brought them back,
They,
Pastor
they,
Sean. I don't know.
they demons. They the ones wandering the earth now, making a pop, making men do crazy stuff. Men and women and children do crazy stuff.
Oh boy. Oh, well then you feel
Yeah.
like that. You finna
I,
really be
I,
upset, Pastor Sean. You're gonna feel a certain kind of way when I bring this up. And Pastor Sean,
I upset. I'm just saying.
yeah, that's right. That's right now. To
COVID
you.
is based upon a blind angel.
Uh-huh. Okay. Pastor Sean, can you do me a favor? Can you read verses
That's
41?
why it don't make sense.
Pastor Sean, can you please read 41 through 43? This is Second Maccabees chapter 14.
Now,
Please
when the
go ahead.
now when would have taken the tower and violently broken into the outer door, and bade that fire should be brought to burn it. He being ready to be taken on every side fell upon his sword. Okay, so this suicide,
Mm-hmm.
choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the to the be abused otherwise than be seemed his noble birth. But missing his stroke through hate, the also rushing within,
You cut now, Pastor Sean.
he ran boldly up.
Okay, he cut now. So I'll read it. Now, when the multitude would have taken the tower and violently broken into the outer door, and blade that fire should be brought to burning, he being ready to be taken on every side, fell upon his sword. So he committed suicide, choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked, to be abused otherwise than be seen his noble birth, but missing his stroke
So
through hate.
wait. They said so. They saying he gonna be raped. He about to get raped and then killed, raped and killed.
Yeah, but hold on, Pastor Sean. Look at what else is in here. Let me get this last verse. But missing his stroke through haste, the multitude also rushing within the door, he ran boldly up the wall and cast himself down manfully among the thickest of them. So he committed suicide.
So it's down like Batman on
He listen
but
to
he
what I'm
alive
saying.
and he swoops down like Batman on.
No. He cast himself over, so he killed himself. But it says he chose manfully rather to die. He rather to die manfully. This is saying it's actually giving kudos that he committed suicide. Now, Pastor Sean, Brother
Yeah.
Brian, what does the Bible give us any right to commit suicide?
No.
No.
So
That's
why?
all.
So why is
It's
the
still murder.
it's still murder? So why is the Apocrypha okaying it? Read the three passages again, right
It's
here.
antichrist.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's antichrist. You, it's false doctrine. It's doctrine of error, which means it's antichrist.
Oh, listen, right? This book got a lot wrong with it. Okay. Nowhere in the biblical text does it give you kudos for committing suicide. Nowhere in the biblical text does this going to get the biblical text does not give you geographical errors. It does not give you doctoral errors. And I'm not even done, right? Some of this stuff y'all know, Some of this stuff you don't know, right? Now, hold on. Pastor Sean mentioned something earlier, right? Or him and Brother Brian, actually, right? Now, the book of Tobit, gotta go back there. Gotta go back here. I'm showing you all of the, and y'all can go back and check this yourself, right? Tobit chapter 6, starting at verses 1 through 7. Now, I'll read this because they having problems with their Wi-Fi. Look at what it says here, family. And as they went on their journey, they came in the evening to the river Tigris, and there lodged there. And when the young man went down to wash himself, a fish leapt out of the river and would have devoured him. Then the angel said unto him, take the fish. And the young man laid hold of the fish and drew it to the land. To whom the angel said, open the fish and take the heart and the liver and the gall, right, which is the entrails of the fish, and put them up safely. So don't throw this stuff away, keep it. Watch this. So that the young man did as the angel commanded him, and when they had roasted the fish, they did eat it. Then they both went on their way till they drew near to Escatan. And then the young man said to the angel, Brother Azaris, to what use is the heart and the liver and the gall of the fish? And look at what he says. And he said unto him, touching the heart and the liver, right? If the devil or an evil spirit trouble any, we must make a smoke thereof before the man or the woman, and the party shall be no more vexed. Family, this thing is pushing
Witchcraft.
witchcraft. How do we ward off? Uh, Pastor Sean, you cutting out. Um, Family, of course, the
The
Bible.
blood of Jesus. The blood of Jesus. Spiritual gifts. The name of Jesus. That's how it works. You got spiritual gifts. You got the blood of Jesus. You got the name of Jesus. You got, and you also got a weapon called praise, because the Bible said it binds the enemy in fetters.
Not only that, Pastor Sean, because look at verse 8. As for the gall, the entrails of the fish, it is good to anoint a man that have whiteness in his eyes, and he shall be healed.
No,
This
I remember Jesus using mud, but he only did it one time.
but the entrails of a fish.
No, he ain't used that. He get nobody hit.
Okay. Okay.
Now, he had to spoke it, laid hands. He had to spoke it or laid hands. That's how they generally heal folk.
Family, listen. And there's more. But we showed you some examples. This is directly from the Apocrypha. We done found doctoral problems. We done found geographical problems. We done found time lapse problems. We done found witchcraft in the doggone thing. Angels got families. What else? It's totally contradicted. And listen, if they don't even got God, they got something there with God. Souls pre-existing before with God. So I guess in the beginning was the soul, and the soul was with God, and the soul, I guess, is God. Listen, this is a problem. The Apocrypha was taken out for a reason. Okay. And here's the thing, and this is going to really hurt Hebrew Israelites. This is going to hurt you. Right. Um, Pastor Sean and Brother Brian, I would like to hear what y'all have to say while I pull up this next part, because this gonna hurt some feelings. So I just need a minute or two. If y'all want to speak to the audience, Brother Brian, you've been quiet,
Mm.
quite quiet. I would like to hear from you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know if Pastor Shaw was going out or I was going out, but this Wi-Fi is tripping over here.
You
And
sound
one
fine
minute
now.
ago,
Go ahead.
it goes in and out, in and out, in and out. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that the Apocrypha is not scripture, and we just piling on the evidence. I feel like we got a Royal Rumble going on, and everybody's jumping off the top rope on top of them.
Pastor Sean.
This is so much. This I can say. I'll tell you this again. This is antichrist, anti-God, anti everything in the Bible is to. Again, why would God let an angel sleep with a human woman when he that's the reason he had to destroy the earth the first time and everything in it, save Noah and his son family.
That's a good question.
If they can answer that question, I'll go with the Apocrypha.
I, I when I was looking at this stuff, I just got. I mean, it would just give you a complete headache. Um, because the stupidity, Pastor Sean and Brother Brian, the stupidity is overwhelming. And I don't know. I mean, but you know what? Yes, I do. The fact of it is, family, they telling everybody that they're doing research. That's a lie. They're not doing any research, and they just going with stuff, cherry picking stuff that they think they can use to help their faulty doctrine. But I'm gonna tell you right now, even the stuff that they're using, it goes against them. It's not helping them whatsoever. Um, and I'm trying to find this thing here. If I can't, I'm gonna just go ahead and type it in. Okay, here we go. I found it. Here we go. Now, family, I want you to take a look to what I'm about to do here. So I'm going to use this, right? King James. I'll keep that up in there. All right. Now, y'all know, Brother Brian, Pastor Sean, what